Good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to the workshop. As you can see in front of you, I have a significant number of stormtroopers to paint. This should be fun. I've got a plan. We'll see if it works. I am going to be using black and white. Ha! Yeah, stormtroopers, I know. I've got one sergeant. He's a special dude. He's got his awesome, like, orange shoulder pad. We'll get to that later. Tonight, we are working on these guys. These 9 lovely stormtroopers. How is everybody doing tonight? Hopefully keeping healthy. Hopefully you don't have to go through too much of an ad, but I've got some ideas for this evening. I've set myself a reminder. So at 9 o'clock, we're going to get up and stretch, and I'm going to see what happens if I run a 60-second ad. I don't know. We're experimenting. Hopefully everybody's cool and everybody's all ready to go. Get a drink, have a seat. Let's chill out. I was going to do the Frost miniature today. However, I realized that there wasn't really enough left on it to fill up an episode. So she's done. For anybody who's interested, she's right here. So she's going to hang out in back for a bit. You know what I need to do? I almost forgot. I need to make sure that webcam is focused properly. Should be right around there for L Trooper. Let's raise the camera a little bit and make sure. Yeah. Good. Apply. Okay. Done. So there are 9 of these guys, and I've adjusted my lighting so that I'm hoping they don't wash out like Keyleth did, because she was so white. I spray primed them. They were gray. So I went and I took my white spray primer and I hit them with that. We're going to see how this works out, though. I don't know if I want to go straight over with some more white or if I want to just... the first guy I'm going to hit with this first, the Contrast Apothecary White, and see how it looks. So this comes straight out of the pot. So I'm going straight out. I'm going to slide this over a bit. You can see in the palette that I was working on Frost earlier. It did not take long to finish her. How's everybody doing? I keep trying to get myself some new paints, and they keep being out of stock or unavailable wherever I'm looking. And it's not just like in Amazon. I'm looking on eBay and stuff like that, and there's just nobody selling them. So I put a bunch of this contrast on my brush, and much like an ink, we're going to be pretty generous with it, and I'm just going to go over everything. And I think this is going to work out really well, because this is going to make all the white look really cool. But my intention this evening is to show you guys how to paint a good batch of miniatures. And if I can I want to get through all 9 of these guys and possibly the sergeant tonight. I think that would be pretty cool to see. Yeah, maybe. We'll see how good this looks. If it's making the white look correct, I don't necessarily need to go back over it with more white. I do need to get in there and do the black, and the black is going to be the tricky part, but I've got a thought about that too. We're going to work with very watered down paints this evening, and it's going to be, wow, these look really good with that one layer on. It is going to be an ink and contrast paint night, and we're going to see how much we can get done. I may have to go in and hit the plates with a bit of white and a gloss, because they are stormtroopers, so obviously they're shiny. Hey, Cacao. How are you doing? My phone's on my desk going off. I hope you guys don't hear that. It's just buzz, 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 buzz. So I'm going over the whole figure. I know there's a significant chunk of black spots on these guys that I need to go back and deal with, which I will be doing, so no worries about that. It's buzzing on my desk. Obviously not pro streamer right here. I want it to be pretty watered down, and we're just going to go around. Turn them in your hand, spin them around, give them a nice coat. Grab it by the blaster rifle, put them down. Maybe someday. Hopefully my sound's good. It looks like it should be picked up pretty well. My meters are all bouncing up into the yellow and possibly into the red when I raise my voice a little bit, so I don't want to be too loud. It's Tuesday, right? I think it's Tuesday. It's funny because the only reason why I know what day of the week it is right now is because it's either the day before I stream, the day I stream, or the day after I stream. And then it's the weekend. And that's been kind of keeping me on a schedule. So thank you guys for sticking around and giving me a reason to come back and stream. I'd probably do it even if there was only one person in stream, but you know, having extra folks is always good. La, la, la. So Navi asked me when I was doing that big red dragon how I keep sane. And this is the other side of that spectrum. And it's just a matter of being able to see where your progress is. Ah. See, you've got a schedule. I don't. Because as some of you guys, or most of you guys know, I lost my job in December. My 9 to 5 or my Monday to Friday. This was when I start trying to do commission painting and stuff for people. And decided I would put it online for folks to watch. So this has been my schedule. Like, this is basically what I've been doing. I got a little bit out of it. And it's tricky with my kid being home because I gotta try and make sure she gets her schooling taken care of. I had not intended to homeschool her, but you know, things happen. She's got to keep up. So, that's what we're working on. Really? Cool. Well, good to know. And I mean, the wet palettes are certainly worth it after you suggested it. I made my own little intro wet palette, and I absolutely love it. So, might be worth the investment. I've also been trying to figure out, speaking of making an investment, figuring out how to do. This is gonna sound. This isn't as bad as it sounds. I'm looking to try and make like a donation button. I'm not entirely sure how to do that, so I've been working on that. I figured I would use it for things like supplies or upgrades or, you know, getting groceries, like a tip jar sort of thing. And I'm not entirely sure how to do that yet. I was doing a little bit of research before the stream tonight, reading stuff, looking for buttons, trying to figure out how to get it in stream, how to let people, you know, get the notification that it went through, you know, give them a good awesome cheer for being super generous if they decided to be. I don't want it to be clunky. I'd like it to just be something that is easy for people to do if they find the desire to do so. And I think it takes a little bit more work from my end to figure that out, but as soon as I've got it, it should be pretty simple. Yeah, I'm running Streamlabs right now. I'm just in this. I'm in this situation. Remember, you guys will be familiar with this. Remember when you're a teenager, and your parents are like, "All right, you got to get a job," and you're like, "I need to have a car to have a job," and they're like, "Well, you need to have a job to get a car," and you're stuck, and you're like, so how is this gonna work?" Well, with Streamlabs, they have some features that are cool and free, and I don't have to worry about it. And then they have a lot of stuff, like I'm pretty sure the donations button is in there. That is with a gold subscription. And that costs X amount of dollars a month. And I'm like, well, you know, if I had a full-time job, I could totally do this and not worry about it. But right now, ain't that time for neither myself nor my wife, as she used to. She owns a daycare, runs a daycare, and it is closed. So, it's tricky. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to have them all linked to the same thing. So if you go to my website or anything like that, or if you're on Twitch or my Facebook page, I'd like to have them all linking back to the same thing. I don't want to have like 3 or 4 different PayPal-y, Venmo income streams. I'd like to kind of get it all done in one. And that would be, I think that would be the best way to go. And it's just weird. So I'm stumbling through it. I'll figure it out. Eventually we'll get everything going. I did discover today that if you are a subscriber to my stream, my channel here, you don't see ads. I was like, oh, that's cool. I was just futzing through some of the settings. I was like, hey, so that's why my wife hadn't seen them. Gotta be careful not to pop the minis standing behind the palette with the brush. But yeah, I've got some wish list things I'd like to do. I'd like to convert this entire workspace into an actual workshop with a standing desk, and I can set the cameras up permanently and all sorts of stuff, and it'll be a lot better for you guys watching and a lot better for my posture and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So yeah, some Googling. there's definitely, the information is definitely out there. I just haven't put it all together yet. And I'm super like suspicious or skeptical about connecting a bank account to anything. Um, so I'm trying to do all of my research first before I start like running tests on whether this works or not. So. But like I said, we'll get there. We'll get there. I was just happy that these guys showed up. Quap had said he sent them. They ended up stranded at his workplace because he was shipping them through the work mailroom or whatever. Just having them picked up there. And the work mailroom had closed when everything else did. So... yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm trying to water down this stuff, as you might notice, before I start putting it on them. I'd like it to not be super gray. And I mean, coming right out of the pot, it's really not that bad, but I figure I should give it a shot. Because we're going to start getting in there after I get the first coat done and it dries up. We'll start picking out all the black. But I didn't want to be black shadows on the white. So this stuff is great. Actually, I'm really liking it. Little dab of water, little dab of the contrast paint. Generous application. Make sure we get all the way up under all the arms. Now these guys, these stormtroopers he wanted done in a tabletop sort of board game style. Like he doesn't want me to go in and go super detailed or spend lots and lots and lots of time on them. So I figured I'd try this as a good illustration of how to do it. And I will take some pictures and I will post it on my website. And these guys will be my example batch for that particular level of contract. Yeah. Back in the day, when you could make money on an MMO. I probably should have tried that way back when, but I never really did. I never really had the desire to play it like a job. Even though I think if I had done it smartly, I wouldn't have had to. Another streamer, Notorious BLT, and I used to play a lot of World of Warcraft, and we used to run people through Stratholme. Like, the two of us would tank and spank the mobs and just drag people bodily through the instance to get them gear and stuff like that. It's kind of fun. What I was trying to say, Naf, is that I missed an opportunity, like, and I know it. So now I'm trying to make my own opportunity. All right. I mean, these aren't coming along half bad. They look real gray, but there's some definition from my end. Like, there's definitely, it's filling in the cracks, just bringing out some of the details. It's actually doing a pretty good job. Yeah. We should, Neff, we should. Like, I could get in there and just jump off of high things. You could Minecraft stream. I would totally, like, mic up Leona, and she could play with you, and you guys could just stream it. And then every once in a while, I'd fall from the sky. I think it would work. That's basically what I do in Minecraft. I find something that's very high up in the air, and then I fall on top of people. Alright, Sarge, get back here. Let's check in on the first guy. I'm going to give my brush a good rinse. I'm going to clear out some of this. I'm drying off the bottom. I want to make sure it doesn't get too thick down by his feet where it's going to run. But that's okay because that's why we're setting them up. Yep, they're getting close to being dry. Stuff dries fairly quickly, which is nice. It gets a little thick in the cracks, but that's not that big of a deal because I'm going to be doing black in there. But we're just going to go through and clean up around the feet. Looking good. Again, like I said, it's a matter of keeping an eye on your progress to keep from going crazy. Set up your process and then just stick to it for a bit. So ideally what's going to happen is these guys are going to dry, and then I'll get in there and I'll start hitting all the sections that need to be black. And it shouldn't take me too long to finish off. And then we'll just go through and do all the bases. I gotta say, Imperial Assault sounds like it could be fun. Little strategy board game with some of the cool characters in it, and I noticed, I was like, there's a lot of Imperials. And then he was like, no, some of these are bounty hunters, which the Imperials hire, obviously. I was like, okay, so they fight against rebels, got it. And then we went through and we were talking about it. And there's like a huge squad of stormtroopers comparatively. Like I've got 3 rebel troopers, like the standard rebel soldiers. And then bounty hunters and all sorts of other stuff that are kind of neat. But I was like, man, they are super outnumbered. And then I looked and I was like, oh wait, there were like 11 rebel characters. Like characters, named folks, you know, craziness. That's what it seems like. Like they've got a bunch of it's like Luke and Chewie and Han and C-3PO and R2 and then 6 others. A Bothan, a Twi'lek with a lightsaber, a human or Corellian, and there were some other guys in there as well. And I was like, geez. But it looks like it could be a pretty fun game. I'm gonna whack this camera at some point. Let's just clean that up. I don't want this to overdo at the bottom. What I'm doing is I'm I'm essentially like mopping the edge. I'm just using the bristles. I'm drying them off directly afterwards, and I'm just kind of tucking it along the edge of the boot to try to pick up all the excess. I'm holding his little blaster rifle as the handle for that. So they're coming along. Not bad. Wookie. Hey, Quap. I'm painting your minis. We're starting with the stormtroopies because there's a lot of them, and I can get the technique down and repeat the process over and over and show folks how to do that. Right now I'm just kind of managing the contrast paint as it pulls up around their feet so it doesn't over darken them. So I got two ideas. One of the reasons why I'm waiting for one of these guys to dry very thoroughly is because I'm going to use one of my favorite things. I know. I'm going to take the dark tone and my fine detail brush, and I'm going to essentially pinpoint shade in all the cracks because it should run into the cracks. And I'm hoping that it blackens them up and it darkens them down really, really nice. And at the same time, because they're going to be a lighter gray, when I put the black inside like the eye sockets and some of the rims and things like that, what it's going to do is it'll seep to the edges and it might give me a little bit of a highlight around where the lenses are. And it'll just be like two coats. And then maybe go back and highlight with some white on the upraised tops of the helmets, corners of things like that. Maybe even just like a real light dry brush across the rest of it. And it should look fantastic for a really, really like quick paint. Nice and easy way to do it. So this one, as you can see with the white paint, where is my focal point? Right there. With the white paint and then the contrast paint, he's grayed up a bit, but you can see all of the detail and he looks real nice. Like, once I start picking out definition, like in the eye sockets and stuff, it's going to look super cool. Ooh, that was a long one, actually. That was almost a half an hour before I got paint on my hand. I think it's because the paint's really very watery. I need to bring up some of my references real quick. La la la. Camera, painting portfolio. Stormtroopy poopy. All right. Yes. Excellent. A little black right there, a little black on the edges. I think we'll be good. Thanks, Quap. Right now, that's the most important opinion. Most important opinion, because you're the one that's contracted me to do it. So let's get adjust this just a little bit. I'm just going to dip this brush in some of the very damp areas so I can start along with getting into the black, because I think the black is going to look super nice. Did I just stomp on? Yeah, that's why he wasn't dry, because I put the one that was dry down below me under the camera. I need to adjust my focal range, I think. Let's do this, actually. It'll be easier than going in and futzing with the camera too much. We'll go here, slide this over, put this down, bring the camera up, and that should let me bring it out to where I'm going to be able to see it. Where are you? It's farther back than I thought. I'm gonna have to futz with it anyway. Ba ba ba. Yeah, right around there. Why? Okay. Why? This is quick person to person, quick face to face right now. Why do stormtroopers have the little wee wee knob at the bottom? Like, it's got a little dingle knob. I don't get it. It's codpiece. It's like, it's the bit that protects your bits. It's like a high-tech baseball cup, sports cup thingy. You needed a... No one's ever going to be able to unsee that now, because I'm fairly certain it's actually on the costume as well. Oh boy. This one looks like I can start. So, let's do so. Dark tone. Let's get it real way shaken up. And yes, you can clip that. La la la. Shouldn't need a whole lot. I'll go back. Let me get my teeny weeny brush. Teeny weeny brushes. Where'd you go? So let's do the important test. I think this is going to work out. Yeah, but look at that. Now he's got black in the eye sockets. I need it right in the middle. Gotta love it. Gotta love it when a plan works out. Now, basically, what I was hoping this would do is, because we're doing white plates, this would help me keep the black off of those plates because it's going to run into the crack. And then all I'll really need to do is zip back over them a little bit. But that should be good, and it should be pretty easy to deal with. So all I'm doing is going in between the plates with the black ink. Magic cheating. I need some side shots of helmets, because this is all white under there, but this back there is black. And again, if I'm just generous with it, it does its job. Like I'll touch up little bits here and there. Watch out for the dingle hopper. Just give it a little tuck. Bam! I'm being a little more careful on this one for the first one until I get used to the way this goes on, but I don't think this is going to be an issue at all. Doesn't, I mean, as long as you know the techniques and how to get down there, it doesn't take much. You just got to be careful and know what you're doing a little bit. Yeah, not bad. Oh, I just knocked one off the pallet. All right, let me grab actual black because I need to do the blaster rifle, obviously. And this is sort of the proof of concept, guys, so I'm just making sure that everything is doing what I want it to do. And then I just repeat the process on everybody else. I'm just going to be careful down here. I think I almost want to do the same thing on the rest of the blaster pistol. The rest of the blasters are probably going to get the same treatment because I feel like they're going to look better with a little bit of detail on them. I could dry brush this afterward, so we'll see what that looks like. But for the sake of doing them quickly, as a cluster for a tabletop, I mean, for real, that looks pretty awesome. What do you think, Quap? I think he looks really good. And let's do one. Start the rifle real quick. Let's start with the gun and see if the black on it. I don't think it's going to be dark enough, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll get there. I'm just checking something real quick. I want to see how the black ink looks over, the quick shade looks over the gun. I think I'm going to do the gun with the black, straight up. I like the way the gloves and stuff look, even without, you know, lots of layers of this. But I think I like the gun with the actual black paint better. Okay. And then all right, I'm going to take this one, dead white. I'm going to take a detail brush, one of my old Citadel detail brushes. Where'd you go? Oh, dude, this looks real good. This looks real good. And I'm going really lightly over the miniature just to apply the lighter white across the gray from the top down to pick things up. Yeah, look at that. Ain't that pretty? Mm-hmm. Now I could probably even go up one brush size. But again, this is essentially my proof of concept trooper. And what I'm going to do is I'm mostly just going to pull down from the top. And we're going to leave a lot of the underside gray. That looks real good. All right. Let me stage up because my little detail brush is getting a bit of a beating here. Let's go to, where's my standard? There's my standard brush. Citadel standard brush. Sticking with the same roll the bristles out. Only go about halfway down. Letting the bristles kind of bounce across the upraised sections on the armor. over the dingle hopper. Oh man, these are going to look fantastic. These are going to look fantastic, and they're so nice and straightforward to paint. Look at that. Look at that. I love it when a plan works. When you're like, I've got this idea about how I should be doing this. And you go for it, and it doesn't get screwed up on you, and you just kind of run with it, and it just works out. It's very satisfying. And again, I'm lightly just bringing the bristles across the miniature so that the white hits the upraised. It's like dry brushing, but slightly different. And it's just a matter, it's kind of like we did on the Red Dragon. It's just a matter of hitting the right spots and applying the right pressure so that you are not overdoing it. Bringing it down to the bottom. And they are going to look super duper nice on the table. Look at that dude. Look at this. Look at Stormtrooper. Look at him. No, it's one of the regular guys. It's just 3 stages. It's primer, wash, dry brush, black ink, done. This is one of your normal dudes, okay? This is one of your normal dudes. Now I'm just going to crank through the rest of them and we'll be finished with the entire Stormtrooper squad. And I'll paint the red ring around the bases. Like, there you go, Quap. That's what your Stormtroopers are going to look like. I broke the camera! Just kidding, I just knocked it over. I got excited. And I threw things on the ground. Let me fix. Come here. Hey, I have to hug this camera to make this work right. Okay. So, to that end, let's have some fun. Because I was able to do all the cracks and stuff. Let's go faster. Let's try something a little bit different. Top and from the top. Yeah, you might be right. This is what happens when I get excited. I get excited and I get to do this in a nice, efficient way. And when they look really good, I get very happy. I get very proud of them. So I'm currently very proud of the Stormtrooper squad. They know not what they get themselves into. But these guys are going to look super, super, super sweet on your tabletop. Painting the dingle hopper. So because because I know that I can go in and get the cracks of the white get in between everything with that black ink and that it seeps in really well, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna rip through the rest of these guys. We're gonna get all the white done so that their armor is the proper color. And that apothecary white contrast paint is going to give us an awesome shade layer that we don't have to go back and worry about. Just go through and overbrush everything. Sometimes if you hit it too much, just dry your brush off a little bit. Go back and kind of pop it a couple of times and it'll spread it out a little more and thin it out. You'll be good to go. And just kind of rip on through. And you just watch them kind of become like full-on proper color stormtroopers. You pick up all the detail. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to bounce through the rest of these guys. So what I'm going to do, as I mentioned this at the very, very beginning of the stream, but as it is 9 o'clock, I'm trying to get into the habit of doing the 9 o'clock stretch. So for everybody watching, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And for our health as a group, I am going to stand up and I'm going to go a little bit, walk around my basement, and then I will come back. I'm going to go for about a minute. And during that minute, I'm going to try and run a 60-second ad and see what happens. So, stand up, refresh your drink, use the bathroom if you have to. We'll be back in just about a minute. Got it? See if this works. All right. People who subscribers don't see the ad, but that's okay. You guys don't have to worry about it. All right, let's get back to this. But that was a good time for me to walk upstairs, bring my plate up, say goodnight to the kiddo. Let's get back to it. And again, it's just being real gentle. It's not, I don't have the brush like super dried off like you would with a regular dry brushing. I'm looking to get in, and I'm looking to pick up the detail, and I'm mostly bringing it down from the top so that we're essentially adding the highlight portion to where the shade was. That's all it is. It's just a matter of kind of zipping through these guys. And then I'll go back with that quick shade, the black ink, and we will get all of the cracks and the eyes and stuff. And they will be good to go. And this is nothing, so I'm happy with it. Like, this is a fairly quick process, and it's just a matter of sitting down and getting them all done. Blip, 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 blip. This guy's got a little keister hatch. Must be the rescue door. That's for pooping. I need to figure out how to do little sound effects and stuff like that, goofy little things, and assign them so that my moderators can do them and be like, that's for pooping. We'll make little sound bites, spend an afternoon just goofing off, and I'll find good sound bites to make. Blip, blip, blip. Yeah, I think I'm very happy with that first one. I'm really happy with that first one, and I think the rest of these guys are just gonna go fly right along. Hey, just a quick reminder: anybody who has an Amazon Prime account, a Twitch Prime account, maybe you have a free Amazon subscription option. If it's not used, it's just sitting there doing nothing. I'd really appreciate it if you found it worth dropping a subscribe on the channel. My goal is to hit 50. I'd like to hit 50 consistent subscribers. We're at 18, I think. Yeah, we're at 18. So, it's cool though. If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm not worried. I do appreciate people just showing up and hanging out. Keeps me sane. Pick up some more of the dead white. Just gonna zip right along. Get some definition in the face. So that bar that goes across the top of their head is also black. So I'm gonna have to. I'll pick that up as we go through the final stages. As we rip through the final stages, I'll make sure I get all of the black done proper. Do. There we go. There we go. Underneath. Sometimes if you're wondering if you've got too much paint on the brush, just slap it against the palette a little bit. You'll get an idea about how much paint you've got on it. I have a tendency to roll a dry brush around as well. Just a little. Try and make sure I have an even amount of paint. La 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 la. Bring it down around this side. Make sure I'm in the right spot on the camera position. So how many of you guys are going crazy, being responsible and staying in the house? I'm hoping that these smart individuals say everybody. Because we gotta keep safe. I feel like all we really need to do is take a couple of weeks. If we could take a couple of weeks and just chill out for a while, we'll all get through this as best we can. I think that's kind of normal. They should just realize that they're safer where they are. Stormy Troopy. Oh boy. Is it just the incompetence, or have they found a new level of shirking responsibility now that they're not directly in the office? I am now Yuatin. Is that my Arrakis name? Yuatin. What I really want to know is it a killing word? Yep. Very stormtroopy. But basically, what I'm trying to do is show people how to make a plan to do a lot of figures, figure out the way to best pick up the detail and find your process, and then crank through. The first one came out really really well. I try and finish one of them um, as sort of like the proof of concept, and then I move on to the others. So this one's the first one. And I am very very pleased with the way he came out. I think he looks awesome. So the rest of them will just go along that same way. And we'll zip on through, and then toward the end, if I get a chance, I will work on the Sergeant, which I have back there as well. But we're going to at least get the overbrushing and the main color done on him. And all of these guys. Should be quick. But it really is, like, it's just a matter of finding, like, making a plan, figuring out how you want them to look, get that first one done, and then factory line and do the stages of every other one. Repeat the process, watch where your progress comes, set them up in a line so that you can see which ones are done and which ones aren't, and you can appreciate the fact that you've already finished 4 of them, or 5 of them, or 6 of them. And just find some music to listen to, hang out, find some folks to play to hang out with and paint, even if they're just chilling out and talking. Like, when you're working on a good number of miniatures, you want to make sure you've got a steady process to use on them. It'll keep you from going crazy. To turn to when the castles turn to sand. You staying healthy down there, Dad? You keeping away from other folks? I forget if you said that Kayla had to go into work or not. Yeah. Good. Good. That's good. Minimize the contact. I've got a neighbor up here who is one of the administration staff for the local college cafeteria, and they still have 350 international students that could not go home because the airports were closed down and some of their countries are just shut down entirely. So they had to work on emergency plans. And they had stages 1 and 2, but they never had gone on to stage 3 and whatever and 4. So she's also working remotely, setting up the plans and setting up a way to be able to serve all the food without actually having to be in contact with anybody. So yeah, he had mentioned. That's why he started doing Twitch streaming. He's essentially being available for, discussions and stuff like that. So, oh yeah, absolutely. I've popped over a couple of times. A couple of folks from here, Naffy hopped over, Al hopped over. We've all given him a little follow. I occasionally bust on his his aim, as he tends to shoot for the groin and the knees a lot. But yeah, we've been over there hanging out. Yep. Yeah, we were over there last night. I was I don't know what the word is. Proud, perhaps. When he's like just going to play the game or whatever, and somebody started asking him some economics questions and got into a little bit of a discussion, and he brought up his whiteboard effectively and started going into it and was very enthusiastic about it, and it was nice. It was nice to see. You missed my little excitement about the the first stormtrooper and how good he was coming out, how well it was showing up, like all the details and stuff. So it was very similar. I got kind of punchy about what I'm enthusiastic about, and he does the same thing. Not surprised. Yep. But yeah, I was like that first guy I was super excited about. I'm just excited to see these guys done. I feel like Quap is going to be really happy because instead of just being flat gray pieces, these are going to look like stormtroopers, like solid, ready to go Imperial stormtroopers. And they will hold up to close inspection as well. So I gotta make sure he's getting what he's paying for. Yep. Yes. Mr. Kopniowski. He is in chat. I believe him and his wife are both hanging out. You know, some people ask if I need to wear glasses doing it, and it's not like I'm not getting super duper close to them. And I know a lot of tricks to get the details so that I don't have to go in and like squint and really kind of strain my eyes trying to pick them all out. So, and it really is. It's just a matter of the experience. Like I have a lot of experience painting these things. So it increases my general. I have one. I have one of those. I don't really use it. It tends to get in the way more than anything else. I'm looking, what I'm trying to do, here, I'll go on a little bit of a slight tangent. What I'm trying to do, in addition to figuring out how to convert a workspace down here so that I can have a standing desk, because I prefer to stand when I'm painting than to sit. Because what it really is it's the posture. I'm a little hunched over in this seat trying to make sure I get the right way, just to get everything. I want to stand up, but I also want to basically set things up so that I can also get some new brushes, because I'd like to. I know I can do eyes. The problem I'm running into is I'm currently held back by the quality of my brushes. Most of my brushes are 10, 15, 20 years old, except for some of these brand new ones that came with the paint kit that Delirium and Delirious Delight. Delirium End. Damn it. You got too many user IDs. And they came with that paint kit, but I need to pick up some other ones. I think it's about time I invest in some really good high-end ones. Some of the 000 size. And then Noah, I'll get some eyeballs done. So I want to pick up some new brushes. I want to pick up some good brush cleaning supplies to make sure that I keep them for as long as possible. The GW ones are good. They're durable. I just don't have the cleaning kits right now, unfortunately. So that's the next thing I need to invest in. That, a workshop upgrade. Improve the stream quality a bit. Yeah, I've got a couple of checklists to do. It's a little tricky at the moment because I can't really go out and get supplies. Ooh. I have a patron. Just happens to be my dad. So it's patronage from your padre. Padreonage. I also consider Delirium and NAF patrons as well, considering they have definitely helped me out a bit, whether it be with time or getting that paint kit, the Vallejo paints to start on the Critical Role stuff. That was his. I've got the second half. I'm thinking I'm going to start the second half on Thursday. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I am going to be spending my birthday isolated socially. So what I would love to do, I got to figure out what day my birthday is on. But if we had the opportunity to, I like playing D&D on my birthday. Even if it's just a simple one-shot or something, but everybody is all coronavirus barricaded in their houses. Well, happy birthday to your dad. Oh. That was a crick right there. I had to straighten up. I recently started a Venmo account so that people can pay me for miniature painting. Quap is my first official Venmo customer. That was cool. That sounds like a great idea, Neff. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Alright, hold on one second. This is number 8. We're almost done with the dry brush layer, and then I'm going to go back and hit all the blacks. All the little black details and the rifles, and then I'll finish up the base and like those. Yeah, this will be 9 guys. 9 guys in an hour and 2 hours. 9 guys in 2 hours. But that's how you do it. Like, find your plan, stick to it, sort of perfect it on one, and then rip through the rest. Build up your momentum and just go. And that's it. Like, these guys will be a batch of 10 with the sergeant. All done in one night, 2 hours. It's just a little bit of practice, a little bit of a steady hand, a little bit of an idea about how the paints work, a little bit of experience, and you can do a nice chunk of work and get things done quick and have them look good. Nafstad? Yeah, Nafstad's healthy. Healthy and stubborn. As far as I can tell. If she's anything like her dad. Coming on down past the keister of this one. Get under the shoulder armor. Get all the greaves done. Stormtroopen. La la la. I need to pick up some more followers and some more viewers. Pass the word around if you guys have anybody that might be interested in hanging out. Again, as few or as many folks, I always appreciate it. I know that everyone's looking for things to do, and now's a great time to give it a shot. You don't have to worry about how it's going to turn out. You can try them a couple of different times. Like, if you don't like the color, you can paint over it, or if it's going on too heavy, you can always strip it down and start again. Show me some pictures. I'd love to see them. I would love to see them. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. It's just chilling out, enjoying it, taking the time to do something interesting. And that's all we're worried about. Yeah, sort of. Pretty sure I had some of those too. And then I remember going into the basement when we were cleaning out the basement of the house in Bellingham, the big house, and we found a bunch of, I think, Uncle Gary's old Army Man toys, like from ages ago, because they were made with like metal. I played with those for a while. Those were cool. Yep. Yep. Well, now there are Army women. Can't leave them out. They are Army men and Army women. One of the so here's a quick story. We had our groceries delivered on Sunday, and there was no bread and no eggs in it, stuff like that. So a couple of folks around the corner, oh, it's okay, that's fixable. We'll let that dry real quick. I'll move on to the rest of the mini. I accidentally put it in some of the black. Got my palette all twisted. Oops. Was he really? I didn't know that. No kidding. Today I learned that's kind of cool. That explains a little bit, I think. Did he speak German? Was he able to speak German, or was he just like American soldier stuck in Germany? Yeah, you have to know a little bit, right? Even if you didn't when you went over, you probably picked up some. Alright, let me see if I can fix this bit and knock all my guys over. Alright, let me get that out of there. Try and spread it around and dry it off. And then what I'll do, same thing I have been doing, is I'll just go back into that white. And I'm going to go over it, because anything that is overly black is just going to be the stuff in the cracks anyway. All right. Yep, don't panic. Step 1, don't panic. Step 2, wait for it to dry. Step 3, go back over it. It is all right. It is not a problem at all. Not even a thing. Done. Not even a thing. Yeah, okay, this is the sergeant. He's got some more detail he might need to get done, but I'm gonna do essentially the same starting process with him. But then I'll go back and I'll get his cool orange shoulder pad and all of his other stuff. But I'm gonna make sure his highlights are done well and the paint goes on smooth, because he sort of stands out from the rest of the guys. Because I finished up a figure earlier today that I was working on last Thursday, and she is very colorful. It's a Dungeons and Dragons character for Nefastu there. She had asked me to paint her character, so yeah, she done now. So there's a fade on the shield, on the inside. Hair's done. There's some extra highlights on the cloak. Her hat's all done. The trim on the hat is done. So she has many, many color. Thank you. Her favorite color, according to Naf, is loud. So she was definitely one bright figure. She's got lots of colors on her. I like Rorange. Rorange sounds louder. But yeah, she was fun. She was done mostly on Thursday, and I just had to do the base and some of the extra detail stuff, like get the shield and the sword finished up. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make sure that this guy is a little bit better defined on what colors are white. Trying to smooth it out a little bit, not go quite as quickly, because this guy's the sergeant. He's one of the characters, and I'll get in here and I'll do some extra details afterwards. But I just want to get his armor taken care of. But I'd like his transition to be a little smoother, so we're being a little more careful around the inside edges. Picking up just a little bit of paint as opposed to as much as I was doing before. Making sure we're all tucked in on the under the elbow. And what we'll do is I'll go back and I'll do an extra shade of white afterwards, just to brighten him up a tiny little bit more than the other guys. That is very likely the intent of this particular figure. There we go. Yeah, so he's hanging out back here saying, "Charge!" Or more like, "Get him!" And get that weird click on and off. All right, let's put this brush away, back into that nice little fine detail. Doot. And let's get in, start doing lenses and stuff. Now this is literally just taking the quick shade, the black dark tone from Army Painter, and I'm going across, and the reason why I'm using this is because I can get into all of the little cracks underneath the white and not actually worry about hitting the white spots, because it's going to run into those cracks. So it's going to do a lot of that for me. Even if I get it on some of the edge, it's just going to seep into it. So this is a really good way to kind of get into a tiny little nook and get your color where you want it. And it's funny because these guys are really, I mean, they're stormtroopers, right? So they're just black and white. But you can do a lot with two shades and make them look awesome. And it's a matter of knowing those little tricks. And I'm hoping that if anybody is thinking about painting stormtroopers or whatever, or painting something else that might be black or white or two colors, that this will have helped them. All you gotta do is plan it a little bit. And once you figure out where you're going, you just kind of take it and run with it. Go back over some sections, make sure you got all your dark parts colored in. And just zip right along. Most of the trick with these is just being gentle with the brush and not over pushing it, because you don't want the bristles to bend too much and get on the stuff that you want to be white. It doesn't take long. Doesn't really really take long, and you just need to kind of gently bring the tip of a fine brush along the edge. Get that darkened shade in. Nice and gentle. That's really it. And just casually and gently let the bristles get into that crack, and it will take the shader with it. And that's it. It's all you gotta do. Thanks, Quap. I'm really glad you're happy with them. I think these guys are looking fantastic. I love that it worked, especially around in the eye sockets and stuff. Right along this cool little like grumpy face that they have. I am going to go back afterwards and paint the guns all black and probably give them a little highlight, but I mean, it doesn't take much. I think everything else is just done this way. At this rate, I will probably get all 9 of these guys done and then save the sergeant for later. So, all 9, 2 hours. Well, that's when I was, you know, my friend Jeremy over on Facebook was joking about, you know, Warhammer players, now they have enough time to paint all their miniatures. I'm like, dude, if you know what you're doing, it doesn't take that long. And you can make them look really good. Like, what I was doing, primarily what I've been doing on stream is character type figures. So I take a little bit longer because, you know, they have specific color palettes or personalities or whatever that we're trying to find while we're painting them. But when it comes to stormtroopers, they're specifically supposed to be faceless shock troopers for the Empire, and they're all dressed the same, and they're just here to shoot you. So I'm not looking for a color palette that resembles a hummingbird or a peacock. So it's black and white, but that doesn't mean they have to look bad. Like, you just kind of get the rhythm down, get your plan, stick to it, and fly, and you will be done in no time. But like I said, Quap, I want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth. And this doesn't... If I can do 9 of these in a night, and then we'll do all the regular troopers this way, and like a nice quick color scheme, quick paint job. I mean, even like the rebel soldiers aren't necessarily going to be that difficult either. There's 3 of them. I can probably get them all done in one night easy. So we'll just kind of hang out. I'll paint your figures. That way, if you have any questions, or if I'm doing something that you're like, no, wait, I can just stop, and we can make a correction. It'll be great. But sometimes you get on a roll. Yep. Yep, go until 10. I still got another like 8 minutes or so. Like I said, I'll get pretty much all these guys done. Will not be a problem. Cool. Well, as long as she's hanging out and watching, and if she has a particular way she wants them done, like once we get into that, just let me know. Not a problem. I figure I'll just keep doing these guys. I'll just keep going until I'm finished with them because it's not going to be that big of a deal. Maybe I'll go a little bit past 10. But there's no reason for me to stop. I'm not getting up early or anything like that. Not going anywhere. But this is the way to do it. Batch painting is just a matter of figuring out a plan and then executing said plan. And it isn't, you don't want to get overly complex. You don't want to go too far into it if you can help it, because if you get bogged down and one of the minis takes forever to finish, then you're going to look at the rest of the figures and be like, I can't do all of these. Or if a pattern or a color scheme, yeah, the pattern or color scheme, and it's really complex, and you kind of get the first one done, you're like, okay, that actually works, and then you start working on the rest of them, and then you start getting more practice because you're working on the rest of them, and all of a sudden the first one looks like crap compared to the rest of them. And then you gotta go back and redo the first one, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep working on these guys until I'm done, because they're probably they're a finish tonight kind of project. And then I'll move on to some of the other ones that he's got. So I'm on for as long as you guys are. What I should do, and this would be kind of fun, although it sounds like an insane thing to do, I should marathon paint one day. Like, I should start and just keep going and see how many figures I can get finished in one stream. Like, bathroom breaks and whatever are allowed, but otherwise just keep rolling. That could be kind of an interesting experiment. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. See how many folks I can get. I want to advertise it. I want to send that notation, the notification out to anybody who currently shows up, anybody who is interested and hasn't been able to catch it at night. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. But yeah, that's all we're working on. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure. Maybe I'll do a crazy paint marathon day, night and day to night, like full on. See what I can get finished. I gotta finish that Blood Bowl team. That's a good paycheck, and I've been kind of dragging my feet a little bit because I got kind of stuck. I wasn't liking the way it was going, but it was one of those things where I know that when I finish it, it'll be fine. I hit that wall, and I was having a hard time staying motivated. So I just need to get in there and finish that one. The trick would be you guys would have to be able to deal with interruptions from a kiddo, because I don't think she'd let me stay down here all day trying to paint. She might, though, because she could tune in. She could tune in upstairs, so that might help. I don't know. I'm kind of liking the idea. I just whacked the camera, so you're going to have an earthquake. Okay, getting down to the end of that. I'm going to need to refresh my ink there in just a second. But other than painting a color on the base, these guys are basically finished. Painting a color on the base is going to be nothing. It's just doing the trim real quick. But I'm glad you're happy with the way they look, Co-op. They're going to be super cool. Leona? Not yet. But she definitely is a little art nut. She does drawings and stuff for the neighbors. She's done a couple of drawings for the neighbors. We've got a couple of retired couples close by, so she's essentially got some adopted grandmas. Like, she considers them honorary grandmas, so she will make them drawings and stuff like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think she would get a super big kick out of that. Sounds like a lovely idea. I think the prices on some of the resin printers are coming down too, and I really want to get my hands on one of those, because those I know will do the level of detail I'm looking for when it comes to D&D figures. So, and then it's just a matter of me being able to figure out the design process. I can start sculpting my own. I like the idea of being able to make my own toys for Leona and then teaching her how to make her own toys, because I think that would be really cool. Will do. Thanks for swinging by, Dad. Stay healthy. That's all we can ask for. Alright. Let me get this here, and then I gotta refresh that ink. Anyway, have a good night. Get some rest. Say hi to Kayla for me. And we will see you on Thursday. Ripping right along now. We're making some progress. These guys will be very nearly completely done. If you can't tell, I got some thumpy music that just came on from Pandora, so... I believe we've got a good tempo. Probably getting too close to the camera right there with my hand, but just kind of plugging along. I think I might try and find some video software so that I can edit these before uploading, because I think some of them would work even better as slightly like speed increased. Might look kind of cool. Just zip, 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 zip. Talk about what to do. You know, don't speed up the portion where I'm kind of talking about the process, but then when I'm just kind of going through and painting, especially on like the little repetitive ones like these guys, I can just be like blip, 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 and go real fast, kind of have a fast forward kind of thing going on. Be kind of cool looking. That's a pretty good squad. It's a pretty darn good looking squad. It's all just about the practice. And it doesn't take long to get like the steady hand or understand how the brush bristles work. It really doesn't. You'll find that you end up bumping into things that give you more of an issue as like the casting of a figure. You'll find you'll bump into those lines and the little like miscasts and stuff, and you'll be like, ah, and that's more frustrating than how your brushes or what your particular skill level is, because you'll be able to notice them instead of just being like getting a miniature done. You'll be like getting nitpicky about the quality of a casting of a miniature, as you guys are very familiar with me complaining about. It's not uncommon, especially on mass-produced ones, to bump into slight miscasts here or there. But you gotta be able to work around it sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't take much. You can just shave parts off or paint around it or like adjust where the color is and stuff like that. Doesn't take too much. The ones that really suck are the ones that have like missing parts. Like ones that were severely miscast so that like a chunk has not properly cast or there was like an air bubble inside. Those can get frustrating. Painting the grundle. Hey, no laying down on the job. La, la, la. I've noticed that some of these stormtroopers, the position of the blaster is slightly different. Like they'll hold one of them. Some of them hold them up a little bit higher than others. Like their arms are in slightly different spots. I think it was just the way the figure's set afterward. But I think it's kind of interesting. Troop, troop, doo, doo. little past my usual end time, but there's really just 2 more standard troopers. We'll get onto the boss a little bit later, but I got the white done with him. Just a couple more minutes here and we'll be all set. I would like to thank you guys once again for swinging by. If you're new here, please feel free to hit that follow button. We do painting every Tuesday and Thursday night. And as you may have heard, I'm considering doing something crazy and trying to do a marathon paint and see how many figures I can finish in the course of one big stream. Granted, I may need to get a new hard drive for that because I started running out of space already. But we'll see. We'll see. Something I might be able to do. I think it could be fun just to chill out one day and be like super productive. And just get a whole bunch of stuff finished while hanging out with you guys. I feel like it's kind of necessary. So we'll think about when that needs to happen, and I will try and set something up and clear my schedule. And we'll go from there. But I'll let everybody know. I'll put it up on the schedule on actually on Twitch, and I'll try and make a post about it someplace so that things can get marked off. I'm sure we'll have folks in and out, stopping by for a little bit, checking in later on, see what I've done, keeping me honest. But I feel like it could be an interesting thing to do, especially considering the times at the moment. And I might be able to keep in touch with some other folks that I don't get to have on the late night stream. So, could be kind of fun. We'll see what we can pull off. I am really close to being basically done with the entire squad minus basing. So, we are going to zip through these last 2, well, like 1.5 kind of guys now, because this guy's almost done. Just kind of get it up there, up under the grund. The in-betweenus. Bip. Last bip. Last bip. Might be too close to the camera there, but turn this up a little. There we go. Get the elbow. And again, this is one of those things where you can be fairly generous on some of these parts, especially up around the fingers, because you want to make sure that they're properly shaded. And it'll get that way if you put enough of the ink on. The nice part about this, as I've said in the past, is that it essentially does the highlights for you. We've got the shade base, and then the white dry brush or overbrush, and then the nice detail inking inside all the cracks. And it makes excellent little stormy troops. Okay, this is the one I need to go back in there and get a little bit more white on the chest, because that was the one that I had screwed up. But that's okay. It blended to more of a gray than a white. So all I gotta do is go back in, hit a little bit more white, and we will be all set. Yeah, doing the inks in the cracks is just so much easier and more effective than trying to paint all of the plates individually. That would easily triple the time this took. Easily. And realistically, the end result might not be as nice. All right. There we go. All the troopers. Did I miss a spot? Come here. I did. I almost jumped the gun there. All the troopers done. There we go. Here you go, Co-op. All your standard troopers taken care of. I'll go back and I'll do the black on the guns, but realistically they'll take just a couple minutes. Not bad. Not bad. There we are. That's really not bad for a night's work. I'm very, very happy with the way these guys look. I need to do that little black band too. Teeny little details I'll pick up on the way through. But anyway, thank you very much for swinging by, everybody. Stay healthy, stay safe. We will see you on Thursday. I am thinking about getting started on the second campaign for the Critical Role miniatures on Thursday. So maybe we'll do something. We'll pick. I don't know. We'll figure out who we'll pick. Maybe I'll make it a surprise. But I think we're going to start Critical Role second campaign Thursdays. Tuesdays will be commission painting. Probably the rest of these Star Wars. So we will. We'll see you then. Again, thank you for swinging by. If you have an Amazon Prime account and a Twitch Prime, please feel free to, if I've earned it, pop the little subscribe button for the month, and we'll see you then. And yeah, have a lovely evening. Get some rest. Stay healthy and safe. Good night.